YouTube, do you want to break boards, break fools, get around Apollo, get around skill drain, you name it, Endymion, the mighty master of magic, break the fools. We're only going second with this deck. Let's do it. You see that skill drain on the field? I'm going to get rid of that nonsense at once. And we're going to do it through the power of Endymion. Let's go. Focus. Endymion to clap this fool. I have a freaking lava golem on my field, so I am screwed. Negate all monster effects in the field? What the hell? What the hell? Lava golem burned me. Now, it's very important about this deck is you want to count your spell counters. So make sure you're keeping track of them. Pay attention to the spell counters on the Abductor. He's got Eldritch, the Golden Lord. He probably has Conquistador. We're getting lava golems. We're getting messed up. Totally not cool. We're going to activate to put a spell counter on the Abductor. That's going to put six total counters. 6 total counters come forth in Pendulum Summon. Now, all our monster effects are negated. Negate. Mighty Master of Magic. Negated. You want to know what's not negated? Mighty Master of Magic from the back row activates. Under skill drain. Wiping the entire fields. Holy moly, he had Haquiro. He had Golden Land Forever to negate anything. Could he have Golden Landed Forever to negate? Let's read that. What did he have in the back row? He had a face-up skill drain, which I wasn't a monster effect. I was a continuous spell. He has Golden Land Forever. That says when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated while you control an Eldritch, tribute to negate the activation. Guess what? You can't negate it. You can't negate the activation of what I did because I'm already a face-up spell. So Golden Land Forever could not have negated. Skill Drain could not have negated. And he had a Haquiro in the back row, which was going to banish a card from my grave. And that was all under a Skill Drain with the power of Endymion. Endymion. Holy moly. This is the boss monster of the deck. It's got a lot of effects, but the good one is non-targeting. Destroy the field. You want another one? Let's do another one. Let's go. Let's go.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Back to Duel Links. Did you like that quick highlight? Of course you did. This deck is not a freaking meme because it actually did well in a tournament. I could not believe it. We had this deck be played by Kalilidil, who got second place in a meta weekly tournament. I had to copy the deck and learn it. Now, the deck has an incredible turn 1 also, which I'll have a separate video for if you let me know in the comments, and I'll make that video for you. Otherwise, this video is all about going second. This is the deck. It's very expensive. The deck is all about activating your spells to put spell counters on your main 3 cards, being the Abductor, the Magister, and the Servant. These are your 3 main cards. Now, your goal with this deck is to get 6 spell counters on the field, activate the Mighty Master from your hand into your back row, and then remove 6 spell counters, special summoning it onto the field, and destroying cards in the field equal to pendulums you control without targeting. So Apollo could not negate. Let's type in the word negate, and what could negate this? Apollo can't negate. The Borrelode can negate. That actually can negate. Gamma cannot negate, but they'll probably have monsters on the field. Solemn Judgment cannot negate the effect of special summon and destroy the field. It's insane. They can't Torrential Tribute. They can't Solemn Judgment. They'll have to negate the initial activation, not the one that removes spell counters to summon. Actually insane. So what do we do after we know that we want Abductor, Servant, or the Magister on the field? Start activating your spells. Activate your spells. Get 3 spell counters on them. If you have the Abductor with 3 spell counters, you want to search for a Mighty Master if you're going second. If you're going first, you want to search for a Servant. Even if you're going second, searching for a Servant could be good. So generally, the Abductor is going to search for a Servant or a Mighty Master. Then the Servant, with 3 spell cards activated with 3 spell counters, will summon itself onto the field, plus a Jackal from the deck or a Mighty Master from the deck. The Mighty Master on the field can negate spell or trap card activations. So with your Servant summoning the Endymion from the deck, that's going to be great against back row. It's going to protect the Mighty Master you want to activate from your hand to wipe the whole field. Or if you're playing against a normal deck that has monster effects, you summon Jackal. And you'll see this in the video. The Servant will summon Jackal. Jackal will negate any monster effect, negate Nibiru, negate Effect Veiler, negate Apollo if you need to, which you're not really going to even negate. And that's going to be the main focus there. We also have Magister. The Servant summons a monster from the deck after 3 spell counters. The Magister summons a monster from your extra deck that's face up, a Pendulum. So you generally are going to want to save the Magister effect after you Pendulum summon, because it's a scale 8. It being a scale 8 is going to be perfect for our Pendulum summon, and then use its effect after you Pendulum summon to do an extra Pendulum-like summon, summoning itself and a monster from the extra deck. A 4th card I didn't really mention, and I'm not putting big emphasis on, is the Reflection. It's also very good. This will, after 3 spell counters, summon a monster from your hand. So from the hand, from the deck, from the extra deck, or search your deck after 3 spell card activations. And to make the deck even more consistent, we have Spell Power Mastery to search for any of those cards we need. And to make the deck even more consistent, draw a card, 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 draw a card. We also have Spell Book of Secrets and the Blue Boy, which will allow us to draw 2 cards. And then we have Pot of D, which allows us to draw 2 more cards. I'm out of fingers. I'm on my toes now. It's like 12 draws. 12 freaking draws plus 3 searches, and not counting the multiple Pot of Ds for the extra draws. That'd be draw like 20. That's going to make the deck super consistent and give you a ton of spell counters. Now, I'm not putting a lot of emphasis on the Electromite because that's generally going to be your turn 1 play. But even on turn 2, it could help. Generally, the Electromite's going to want to put an Astrograph into your extra deck, destroying a face-up card you control, to then draw a card, special summon the Astrograph, and then also search your deck for what was destroyed that turn. So if they do end up destroying your Servant somehow or disrupting it, your Astrograph's going to be a way to search another and then replay it and then make your play. And then the ultimate play is, after you get 6 spell counters in the field, remove the counters, summon the Mighty Master of Magic, wipe the entire field, generally not responsible. You can't respond to it. Responsible, and then after that, you win. Just check out the gameplay. It's nuts. And I'll be doing a turn 1 video at this, focusing on the turn 1 play, which will focus on summoning the Vortex Dragon incredibly consistently. You're going to have Vortex Dragon, multiple spell and trap card negates, monster negate, Apollo negate, even Selene summoning the Mighty Master back on the field. It's nuts. The deck is nuts. This is turn 2 only video. Let's go. Plasma is just like Skill Drain. Absolute 0 when it leaves the field is going to destroy all my monsters. So if it leaves the field, wipe my field, and Plasma, negate the entire field, just my field though. His monsters are not negated. So what you want to do is you want to activate the Abductor, and essentially your best one is Servant. The Abductor, Servant, and the Magister are the 3 main monsters you want to get on the field in your back row, then activate your spells. Very good. Then you want to just keep activating spells, boost up their spell counters to play around this. We're completely negated. Into the Void. I know the deck looks cheesy because it's playing Into the Void in Chicken Game. Is just to add spell counters to the field. I promise you we're not cheesy. Servant is going to activate even under the Plasma. Plasma is negating all monster effects in the field, but this was not a monster effect. This was a continuous spell activating to summon a Jackal. Now, the Jackal can negate a monster effect in the field, but the Jackal is negated. So we are negated by Plasma, and we activated a continuous spell under a full field monster negate. Abductor searching for the Mighty Master of Magic. We're going to play the Chicken Game to draw another card, get more spell counters on the field. Pot of D, draw 2, more spell counters. Now, we're activating the Mighty Master of Magic to remove 6 spell counters off the field as a continuous spell, activating to wipe the entire field under a Plasma Negate. Now he's activating the Absolute Zero to wipe my fields, but I summoned a Jackal. Jackal, negate! Holy moly, we breaking boards with Endymion. Non-targeting, wipe the whole field as a continuous spell. So cards that negate the activations, like Apollo can't stop Mighty Master of Magic. The Golden Land Forever cannot stop it. The Solemn Judgment cannot stop it. Solemn Judgment can negate the initial activation, but I don't lose any spell counters. And now we're just showing off. We just need to get 4,000 damage on the field. The Electromite's going to pop to add an extra deck monster back to the hand. We're going to Pendulum Summon. Come forth and Pendulum Summon. Pendulum summons from the extra deck follow the same rules as Link summons. They have to be in the extra monster zone or where a Link arrow is pointing. Full freaking fields. We can negate spells. We can negate monster effects. We can negate traps. We got negate, 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 mate. Let's look at more. This is a Boral Load, which will negate the activation or the effect of anything. Then you have the Whelp, preventing me from special summoning from the extra deck. So let's try to break this. It would be better if he had Apollo. I don't know why he doesn't have Apollo, but he's a fool. And we're under a max freaking C. Magician's Souls is really good for sending your Mighty Master to the graveyard to special summon. And then Magician's Soul could send your spells on the field or hands to the graveyard to draw 2. It's very good. So we're going to activate the Magister and the Servant. You want to get Servant, Magister, or the Abductor on the field, then start activating your spells. Now, the Spellbook of Secrets is like a Pot of Greed. We're going to summon the Blue Boy. Blue Boy is going to be searching for the Spellbook of Knowledge. Spellbook of Knowledge will then tribute the Blue Boy to draw 2. Pot of Greed. We're just building up spell counters. Build up spell counters. The very important spell counters is getting 3 on any of the back row or having 6 total. So 6 to then summon the Mighty Master to get wiping. So we're trying to feel out the Boral Load. And now I summoned a Jackal. Because he did not negate the Servant, now my Jackal can negate the Boral Load from negating me. So this is what you want to do turn 2. You want to focus on getting a Jackal out generally so that you can negate a Nibiru, negate an Ash Blossom, negate a Boral Load, negate an Apollo if you're trying to do something. And then now that we got Jackal on the field, we're going to work on summoning the Mighty Master of Magic, which will be a continuous spell. Now he's screwed. He's screwed. We're going to draw 2 by sending the Chicken Game and the Desires to draw 2 with the Magician Souls. Activating. Now, Boral Load can negate this. It can. But I have Jackal. This is a checkmate. Okay? This is my queen. This is my king. And you're checkmated. Come forth. Mighty Master of Magic. Wipe the field. Wipe it all. Poggers. And now we just got to do lethal damage with a Jackal negating. He's at 9,000 life, though, so I can't do a normal 8,000 damage lethal. I have to do 9,000. Let's go, 9,000. So I'm going to do the Crowley. Crowley is just going to help rank me up into a bigger... Oh, Nibiru! Negate! There you go. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're great. Get out of here. Okay. Keep on going. Pendulum Summon. Get Pen Summoning. We can only summon 1 from the extra deck here. And let's go to the battle phase. I don't want to summon any more so he gets any more max Cs. Lethal. This is a great turn 1 deck also, but I'm highlighting breaking boards going second. That's what I'm really highlighting here. Abductor, great. You want Abductor, Magister, or the Servant. Then start activating your spells so they can build up 3 spell counters and activate their effect to either search, summon from the extra deck, or summon from the deck. Magical Abductor, generally you want it to search for a Servant. Look, he's plussing so much. Get plussing, get plussing. I copied the deck from a recent weekly $100 tournament that got top 4, I believe. Maybe second place. I got to double check. It was Khalil-Adil. Khalil-Adil, this is his deck, and I had to pick it up. It's so good. Search with Abductor, grab the Servant. A very good search. With the Abductor, you generally want to search the Servant or search for a Mighty Master if you're going second. Now, we just want to activate enough spells to activate the Servant. The Servant wants 3 spell activations. We did 1. Now we did 2. Now we did 3. Now we can activate Servant, special summon a monster from the deck and herself. It's a continuous spell activation. Skill Drain cannot stop this. Now, with the Mighty Master on the field, Mighty Master can negate a spell or trap activation. Negate. So generally, if you're playing against a monster, a normal deck that's not true Draco, you'll summon a Jackal instead. Jackal will negate a monster. The Mighty Master will negate a spell. So I want this Mighty Master to protect the Mighty Master from the hand. There you go. Mighty Master from the hand is protected from the Mighty Master on the field. We're going to activate it. We're going to use the continuous spell effect that cannot be skill drained. Come forth. We're going to wipe 4 cards on the field. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wipe it. He had a Solemn Judgment. A Solemn Judgment. Holy crap. Why didn't he Solemn Judgment? Well, let's read Solemn Judgment. You cannot Solemn Judgment the activation of the Endymion to summon onto the field. What he could Solemn Judgment was the activation of the Endymion from the hand. But then I'm not removing spell counters. So the big deal is removing 6 spell counters is a cost. And if I'm removing 6 spell counters, he cannot Solemn Judgment. He cannot. So, very good. Which means if I had another Endymion, I could then activate it. He'd be wasting a Solemn Judgment, essentially. He was kind of screwed. He was screwed. He was screwed. Yeah, do your plays. The Electromite plays similar to Endymion. You send an Astrograph to your extra deck, you pop a card, then you add the Astrograph to then summon the Astrograph onto the field. But in Endymion, the Astrograph's going to be used for a rank 7 Exceed. Instead, he's doing this. This is a beta play. Honestly, this is beta. We're the Chad deck. We're the true alphas here. This is weak. This is garbage. Summoning the Astrograph back, cool. I barely use the Venom. I barely. My turn 1 play, which will be in another video, you'll see. I'm going to have 2 different videos. This one's going to be focusing on turn 2, and the other video is going to be focusing on turn 1. So I thought that'd be a cool idea. So he does have the ability to pop 2 cards on my field. Let's break this. Magician's Souls is great for sending a Mighty Master from the deck to the graveyard. It can also help you draw 2. The Abductor is going to help us search. That's when he's going to Pendulum Graph to get poppin', I guess, or is he just flipping it up? He's just flipping up. He's not activating the effect to get poppin' yet, so okay, it's fine. We're going to Spell Power the Mastery, search for a Servant. If you don't have Servant, you want Servant. Servant is so good. The Abductor could also search for a Servant. I'm going to use this Servant to... I'm going to use the Abductor search for a Magister. It's the big 3. Abductor, Servant, and Magister. Those are the big 3. Now he's going to get poppin'. He's going to wipe up our fields. Holy crap. Wiping up my scales. But he actually left up the Abductor for some reason. I thought you played Pendulum. I guess he doesn't know. Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Chicken game, gain the spell counters. We're going to pay 1,000, draw a card, keep adding more spells, spell counter. Let's Pendulum Summon. This is a desperate Pendulum Summon because generally you want to save your Pendulum Summon at the end. we're gonna summon double Mighty Master, come forth. We're going to now make an Electromite. You add Electromite, I'm gonna do it too. I could do it too. Now, unfortunately, the Servant is a level 3, so we couldn't even Pendulum Summon it. You send an Astrograph to the extra deck, you pop your face-up card, you then add the Astrograph, which will then summon onto the field. You also draw a card. You also add back from your deck to your hand whatever you destroyed, or whatever was destroyed this turn. Well, what was destroyed this turn? Servant. You destroyed Servant, so I get to add back Servant. Let's go. You killed my Servant. He knew that Servant was important. But I added Servant back with the effective Astrograph. So now we have one counter. Blue boy, grab a secrets. We're going to use the knowledge to draw 2. Generally, it's good to just discard the 1 from your hand, unless you're going to draw into an Into the Void. If I were to draw into an Into the Void here, I kind of would have got screwed, okay? We're going to use the Magister to summon from the extra deck. Mighty Master of Magic. Come forth and summon. This is after he wiped 2 of my cards. He disrupted me with a double wipe, and we don't care. This is what we make. we make the Absolute Dragon. I'm going to activate the Abductor. We're going to then summon a Cross Sheep generally. Cross Sheep is going to be good because when you summon the Exceed into the graveyard, when the Exceed in the graveyard goes there, you summon a Fusion. And if you summon a Fusion where the Cross Sheep is pointing to, you could summon a monster from the graveyard, a level 4 or lower. Cross Sheep is going to add the monster of the graveyard back onto the field, which is going to help us just link up, okay? The Absolute Dragon here is an absolute boss. Let me show you that real quick. Let's bring up an Endymion deck type. The Vortex Dragon is insane. It is an Omni Negate. Negate anything. And when this card's special summoned, which you rarely ever do because you summon it turn 1, you target a monster on the field, chat, chill, and you return it back to the hand. Don't get lost. I'll explain the deck, chill. Okay, we're summoning a monster for the graveyard. Return, we can negate anything. Magician's Soul, I'm just gonna draw a card, return a spell, send a spell. I can't explain. Stop. Stop danking in the chat. All right, we're gonna summon a Selene. Selene could summon Mighty Master from the graveyard, which we sent there to the graveyard with our Magician's Soul. I'm gonna use the Servant first to special summon a Jackal. Jackal will negate a monster effect. We're going to link up into a Masquerina. Masquerina could be used during their turn or just be used to make room. I'm making room. Remove counters to summon Endymion, which will be put in defense, unfortunately. And we're going to just summon 1, 2, 3, 4. Apollo USA. Why not? Apollo USA. It's like I'm setting up for turn 1. This is generally what you do turn 1. This is like a turn 1 play. So we have Omni Negates, negate 3 times, and an access code talker. We can negate anything. This is what we do turn 1. I basically turned my turn 2 into turn 1 and lethal. So if he somehow were to survive, I don't know how you would. I'm just going to start wiping everything. Let's go. Let's wipe it all. Wipe it all. Wipe it. Wipe it. Wipe it. Wipe it. He's protected from the Pendulum search thing, so whatever. It's fine. I wanted to trigger that effect so he could try to destroy me, then I would negate it. Lethal, damn it. Now, come on. What's the better Pendulum deck? Are you not convinced? Would you want to play the beta Pendulum deck that could sometimes never first turn kill? Or you want to be an Endymion Chad? This is not that great. The other one was better, but we'll just show this anyway. This will negate a spell or trap, and this will have a triple monster negate. I don't know why he ended up like this and did not have a Boral load. Honestly, I wasn't watching. I don't watch them play if I can't do anything. I do something else. I go do the laundry, I come back, and I go, oh, his field sucks, but let's break it. We got Servant. He could have negated. He's going to max C too. Just whatever. Max C. Now I know he's not negating the activation of the Servant. Now, if we read that Adamantipator card, is it going to be able to negate our continuous spell effect? Let's read it. I'm going to type in Adamantipator. It is the Risen. The Risen says that when your opponent activates a spell, trap card, or effect, which means this could negate the Servant from special summoning onto the field. It could. This could negate the Mighty Master. So this is actually, this counters me. This is really good. But let's see how good it is. It's good if you know how my deck works, but all right. The Into the Void negated. He's got Apollo. He doesn't need it. All right, great. We got that negate out of the way. The negate's gone. Let's activate more Into the Voids. I got more. Great, 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 great. Servant, come forth and special summon a Jackal. Jackal will negate Apollo. So now you're Apollo. This is how you checkmate them, okay? The Jackal's the queen, and it will negate the Apollo. If he had back row, we summon a Mighty Master instead to negate the back row. You summon whatever you want to negate to do your real play. The real play's coming. Max C, whatever. We're building counter. And what's really good is the Jackal gains 2 counters per spell card activation. It's nuts. You gain so many spell counters. This is going to search for the Mighty Master. Very good. Mighty Master. This is where the Ryzen could negate. And then could negate again. Could have negated here. But the Apollo cannot even attempt to negate. This is a continuous spell. You activate in response to this, and that's it. You can't, now it's too late. Now I get to summon this. You can't respond to it. I get to choose what I want to destroy. You can't respond to it. I say, put that in the graveyard. They go, wait. No, there's no waiting. It comes out and it destroys your cards. You cannot respond. You can't. You can't even torrential if I choose to put your torrential in the graveyard. It's gone. It's gone. On the resolution of it being summoned and destroying your cards, then you could respond. And it's a continuous spell. It cannot be negated by Apollo. Wipe it. And we're under max C right now. But Jackal can negate a Nibiru. We have the negate on Nibiru. So I'm going to try to deal 9,000 damage without over summoning too much, because I don't want him to draw too much. So I'm thinking we had lethal, a regular lethal with the access code talker, but because he's at 9,000 life from our upstart goblin, now it's a little bit more complicated. Now what do? How do we get 9,000 damage after wiping the full field? So we're just going to be activating. We're just setting up. The Magister is a really good scale 8. It helps you Pendulum summon and also summon a monster from the extra deck from its own effect. We're going to Pendulum summon. Now I can only Pendulum one monster from the extra deck. We're going to summon the Endymion, Mighty Master. We're going up. So this is going to help us into a Selene. Selene's going to summon a monster from the graveyard. So that play right there is literally just access code talker. You make a Selene. Selene is 3, summoning a monster from the graveyard, and then it becomes 4 for access code talker. That's it. It's 2-card access code talker with the Electrolyte. All right, come forth and summon. If he's got Veiler or Nibiru, we got to negate with the Jackal. All right. Lethal damage. Does he have anything? Activate, boost, Veiler. This is where I am Monka-essing. This is a problem because this will turn off my attack. My attack boost is gone. So I'm thinking, do I negate? Then get Nibiru'd? I think he would have Nibiru'd if he had it. Screw it. Negate. And I'm just like, please, let me enter the battle phase. Let's be cool. Let's be cool. Yay! Let's go! Got him!